We're still sort of setting up this podcast thing, and we don't know what it's going to be about or what it's going to be called. Well, we got an idea just now.
It's going to be great. We're going to have some great ideas for you guys.
Yeah. I don't know why anyone would be listening to this, to be honest. Because we're nobody.
But we thank you for listening, and we thank you for not listening at the same time.
But one day we will be somebody, and you're going to get in on the ground floor.
And you're still going to be nobody.
We're all going to be nobody.
Rufus is welcome.
Yeah, I think it's Rufus is welcome.
I wonder why they changed the shotgun and not.
How loud is this thing going to be?
I don't know.
Ah, stupid, man. We weren't counting on advertisements.
Colgate Optic White. Fuck
You see
you.
Proto Man on the picture? The thing, that's awesome. Silent weapons.
That was one of the weapons, right?
Silent.
I think it's picking it up. Yeah.
Look, Sector. Electric power. So we welcome you back to the podcast, even though this is the first podcast we ever did.
This thing.
Oh my God.
So just be comfortable in just talking to.
Don't have to get too close.
Yeah. Especially you, since you're gonna be whoever's gonna be directly in the middle of it.
I'll have to see. 'Cause I might want to sit like closer to the side.
Yeah.
Actually, fuck, both of you guys have deeper voices. I feel like my voice is like
That's fine. Then you can stay in the middle.
it needs amplification.
If you break
I think my voice is fucking stupid.
Bro, you know I can exchange this mic at my job.
the thing is,
I can take it at my job, swap it out.
if you
Could
break
you do this?
mic, our
I could.
brother is gonna be.
Wow.
You know, like it's probably sounding like pure shit on here right now. But
And
we're
guys,
just, like actually throwing the fire.
It'd be
you know?
awesome if you go and we have a random encounter tonight with special guest.
This is random encounters with.
As you fellers can tell, we are fans of Final Fantasy VII.
Nope.
Hopefully,
They
it's
might not
only
be able to.
fellers that are listening to this, because then I'll be completely wrong on the demographic.
We are
You should probably
both.
get in a little closer. Is there any way you could lower that thing?
We are both fans and anti-fans.
Someone fucked up your podium. Hope compute.
Oh,
Electric. Whatever it's called.
Okay, so
So we're starting off the podcast, and like I said, I don't know why anyone would be listening to it. But I guess you would be, because else there's no point in making this sort of thing.
well, to introduce ourselves from left to right, I am Alex Batista.
No one knows it's left to right.
Introducing ourselves from a semi-directional manner, I'm Alex Batista.
I'm Maui,
And I'm Alfred.
and we're here to talk to you about
About
Shinra Electric Power Company.
we're talking to you today. We come here with tidings from Shinra Electric Power Company, is what it is.
We're going to have to speak a little clearer, or I'm going to just fucking turn this thing up.
Oh my God! Just don't. Be careful.
There, I think it's fine. I don't care if it peaks, to be honest. My would just switch it out.
Coming to you
coming.
I am coming.
loud and clear.
Coming.
This shit's gonna
Yeah,
explode.
that's alright, fine.
Look, man. If
There.
there's one thing that we have to discuss today, it's why Final Fantasy VII is worth $129 on Amazon.
I don't think any game deserves to be that expensive.
What about the Xenoblade?
Maybe Xenoblade, perhaps, but not.
Man, but Xenoblade is a much much more recent title to be worth that much already. And considering the fact that Final Fantasy VII has been around, I can understand maybe it's a collector's item kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about that price.
Yeah.
I'm fucking with the mic and shit sometimes.
It could possibly be considered a collector's item. There might be other games that should be worth maybe just as much or maybe even more than Final Fantasy VII.
I don't like this whole sitting like side to side to each other, you know?
Why?
I think it works better in
Well,
At an
I
actual
can
table.
have my arm around you, boy.
I can have my hands on your.
it works easy. I mean,
we can get you the.
it's the only way we can make this thing possible at the moment.
So this first episode is gonna suck at a technical standpoint,
At a fantastic rate.
Yeah. It's already going downhill.
but we're having a great time, aren't we?
Come on.
Come on.
So yeah, we're trying to think of what we're gonna call this podcast, and I don't know. I threw in an idea just for the fuck of it, calling it the Electric Power Company official podcast.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds solid.
It sounds official. Sounds like someone in the city hall came up with it.
I have no input. I have no idea.
I like it though.
We don't have a budget to be paying people for City Hall to come up with names.
We're sneaking into schools and doing this thing like pirate style.
This is the way that it is done when you have no money.
Yeah. We snuck into the local university.
And we burnt the fucking money.
We burnt all the fucking money
Oh my god.
on the first podcast.
So then,
So we're gonna try to bring you guys up to speed on certain things we thought were funny about the game Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, but before that, this is actually officially the second episode of the podcast. The first one was 2 hours long and fucking lost. We lost it. I lost it.
yes, it was Alfred's fault completely. It
Yeah.
did not play. He hit delete.
Yeah, and I was doing it on a stupid ass tablet on a stupid app that there's a paid app version of it, and then there's a free one.
There's the light version.
And we did it with the free one. So there we go. This is why this is the second episode.
And this is
And
why.
we apologize. It was really funny and it was really good.
This is why I'm here.
Everybody has
These are the
aged
questions.
terribly since then. Everything that's going on here, this is just a shadow of that first episode.
There was 5 guys on that first episode, and 2 of them died.
They got deleted along with the data.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, hopefully we can try to recreate and to bring to you the some of the topics we were talking about in that first podcast.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Took
There's
us like
a lot of good stories.
Like 2 hours. this
2 hours
episode?
and like 3-4 beers each.
Yeah, it was 4 beers each. Some good ones too.
Damn man, those were good beers. Yeah, I admit.
We were all a little nervous at the time, so we thought a couple of beers would do the trick.
And we don't have the beers now, so you're gonna have to deal with this
No,
nervousness.
we're here in the dark, in a classroom where tomorrow
That-
people are gonna be learning some dumbass shit.
Classroom that we broke into.
Well-
We don't even go to this.
We're leaving our podcast stench all over this place.
And I promise you this much: you're gonna hear a guy walk in, and he's gonna say, "Tu sabes que yo soy,"
It's gonna happen pretty soon, I think.
and that's Spanish for "you know who I am."
The Spanish for fuck you.
Forget the fuck out of
It's
my
Spanish
class.
for get out.
Oh my god.
Lárguese de aquí, cabrón.
So
Yeah.
maybe this episode won't be an hour long or 2 hours long, but it'll be enough.
No, I think we should be it's got to be at least an hour, and it's got to have a proper ending. We got to say, well, you know, that's the hour.
That's my mama.
That's my mama.
I'm telling you, the ending is gonna be the guy walking in.
To the fanfare, like the Shinra fanfare.
Yeah.
He's gonna go.
I think that would be an awesome theme, though, for the podcast.
The sound effect of an elevator sending you an hour into Junon Harbor. Like, wee. 3 scene changes of one stupid ass elevator.
Is that in that like angle? Do they kind of have like the camera pointed at the thing, and it's just taking forever for the thing
Yeah,
to come down?
yeah, that's how
like
it
you
works.
see it like a mile up in the air.
You
Right?
can control cloud, and for what? They give you control for nothing. To access your menu.
That whole game is you controlling nothing.
You should be in the menu, like adjusting items, and with the elevator just still scrolling, just to kill 2 birds.
It was all
Yeah.
part of the immersion. They wanted you
You-
to really feel like you were
know
in an
what's
elevator.
But you know what's awesome? There's no other stops in the elevator. It's from the top to the fucking bottom, a
Jesus.
mile down.
That's what it takes. I mean, it's a harbor.
From a civilization from above to a civilization down below.
No, the
Yeah.
civilization down below was like one house, right? It was like it belonged to that Priscilla.
I just know it was like half like sunken and with electricity like all over the water.
Didn't you have to revive that girl, but you had to blow up her lungs with the
Oh,
air?
that's right. That's right. They go to the beach.
Just destroyed her lungs.
Cloud, what are you doing?
Don't you ruin this for me.
Oh man.
So Alfred, what were some of the issues that you wanted to bring up about the game?
I don't want to bring up any, but since we're
here.
kind of working, yeah, since we're here, and
Since we're here.
in reality we are kind of working on a film thing for that's related to Final Fantasy VII, and
No spoilers.
I'm having no spoilers, but it's just gonna be a thing.
I'm always in trouble.
He's already in trouble
He's been in trouble.
the minute he got on this podcast. But yeah, we're working on this thing, and I want it to be really authentic, so I'm completely going through a bunch of fucking material for the game, and mostly going through a transcript of the entire story of the game. So I'm going through it and finding out that whoever wrote it was an awful human being, and they didn't know shit. That or translating Japanese is really hard.
Right. Wasn't it Sakaguchi who wrote the main story?
Yeah, I'm sure he did a really great. I'm sure he did a great job, because look at something like The Last Story, and that came out fine.
Mhm.
But I'm pretty sure he executive produced that thing or something.
I remember reading or hearing that it was a story, made and a game based off the fact that his mother passed away, and it had to do with life and death. And that in an interview, apparently he said it had the secret answer to the secret question to life, whatever it is.
Yeah, but you also got to think, like, in the beginning, you weren't even gonna spend any time in Midgar.
Right.
You're gonna spend do like 1 or 2 missions there, and then you were supposed to leave. But then that asshole who makes Final Fantasy X and all that shit now, the guy who's in charge of Final Fantasy now, he threw in all these scenarios, all this cool shit, like Cloud dressing up as a chick to get into Don Cornello's.
But you do admit that was
which
good
wasn't.
stuff.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was fun stuff.
It did take forever to see the world map.
Yeah. It took a while to get out of there.
But it did build character. That's, I guess, what he put it there for, so you can like feel like these characters that you're involved with have actual personalities, have heart, have like gone through stuff, and you can, I guess, relate to them through the rest of the story, right? I
Yeah.
think that's what it's for.
Yeah. It really let things kind of develop a little better in there, because I don't think it even had you going into the Shinra building and finding out all this Genova bullshit. And actually, I think another plot point that they ended up getting rid of and they used for Dirge of Cerberus was the final battle with Sephiroth was supposed to be over Midgar, and he was supposed to get like all this energy from all the different reactors to like power himself up, and you were supposed to destroy them. And you end up doing that in Dirge of Cerberus to stop the Omega thing.
Yeah, and I think that
I didn't play it, but I had to read all this shit, so I know everything now.
it was thanks to Hojo that he was still alive.
Good old Hojo.
Dr. Hojo.
What's he doing nowadays?
He's fucking dead.
I killed him twice.
Oh my god.
No one even ever says it to Sephiroth, like, I killed your pappy.
I still stick by the idea that there was Vincent that was his pappy, because
He's so worried about his mom that he doesn't give a fuck about his dad.
It says it right here. He fucked and then just injected some Genova stuff. Straight into the tip of his dick, into the vein of his dick.
I haven't researched it, I haven't looked it up, but I mean, from when I remember the game, and this was a very, very long time ago, because that's when I beat it, like, seriously. I've never made it past the second disc whenever I try to replay it now. But what it ended up being was that when you look at Vincent's past, and you find his wife, I forgot what her name was, Lucrecia, like, they give you some backdrop on Vincent, and that was his wife or his girlfriend, and then he impregnated her, then they took him out. The Turks took him out. That's when Hojo experimented on him and turned him into a monster, but he was also experimenting on Lucrecia.
Now, I'm just gonna interrupt you to say, like, did they have a scene with Lucrecia pulling out a pregnancy test and showing that, and it just says Vincent's baby on it?
Yes.
Did they have one for Hojo?
I don't think they have pregnancy tests in Midgar or anywhere on that planet.
No,
it's just babies came out.
No,
it was babies day out.
And they don't know how it happened.
Yeah, it was magic. It was magic too.
Everybody that existed on that planet existed at that time and only at that time.
It was all holy.
Oh, you know what? I also read that using materia is also bad for the planet.
Really?
Yeah, it uses up the energy and shit like that. So in that new, like, after the game ends, no one uses materia anymore. So magic is gone.
Is that why they have a box in Advent Children that's just in case with a bunch of materia?
I guess so.
And Cloud, like, they don't even touch it?
I think that's why.
Yeah, this is a huge box full of all their materia.
But then,
and you see no one using magic throughout the entire thing.
No.
But then that makes Barrett the biggest asshole, because his actual ability scaled off having certain materia, which are the summons.
It was I believe that his strength was based on the ability points acquired through materia. So the materials that gave you the most ability points, that would determine how hard that he like. It
And
would
the
fuck up
only
the
way
game
to
and
raise
scale
ability
it.
points in a material is to use it.
Well, by the time the game's over, he's already juiced up. So, so it doesn't matter.
Roided up.
He's using that
Yeah.
big shot, like it's all good. No, that mind blow.
Mind blow.
I never got
He
my
just-
mind blown.
He tells you some real deep shit about yourself. He's really insightful.
He goes, "What's this?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's talk about the transportation aspect of Midgard.
About trains.
The railroad system under the giant pizza.
Yeah.
How they essentially transported no outside goods or resources. It was just like
I
a
want to talk about how
modern day subway.
nobody ever questioned the fact that there was ghosts in the
Oh.
in the train graveyard, like actual
And-
ghosts. Like
And the fact that the train graveyard was right next to the new, like the new train like
Station.
and no one ever decided, hey, look, let's just put on one of these old trains on there and just ride it out.
or
Because the other ones were like built with all this security bullshit.
or why the ghosts never really
Let's
wanted
ride
to
a
leave
fucking ghost train.
the train graveyard. Why they decided it was a nice spot to.
There was a
chill.
lot of fucking train cars in there.
Yeah,
For real, man.
What
And they were
happened-
still working and functioning. You had to ride some.
Yeah, because ghosts kept them intact.
That was the
Like,
ghost
how many
town.
people died? You know, like, was there just like a railroad that just
Apparently, the trains are all these people knew. They loved them so much they decided to stick with.
It's like the 7 was like a train town,
That's
So
forget-
terrible. Man.
just like Rocket Town trains.
But Rocketown had one
It
rocket.
had one rocket.
They built the whole fucking town around it. If it's funded by Shinra, why the fuck is Rocket Town so far away? Why wouldn't they make like a
Maybe they-
launch platform right nearby?
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to make it like somewhere like on the outskirts.
It was funded by Shinra at first, but then didn't it become like Sid's pet project?
Yeah,
or
he
something?
bought it.
He bought it?
Yeah, he bought the space program.
using Shinra's own money.
He's the only one in the space program, is what it is.
Yeah. It's funny that he had it and everything, but for some reason, like they canceled the thing and he was never able to go. But it's in his fucking like town. It's not like he. It's like he needed their permission to be able to take the rocket out, and he just decided never to just. Fuck it, I'm just gonna go.
Well, I mean, two things were wrong with that thing. I'm gonna say that the first thing was that,
That he took all of the space project money into tiny Broncos.
he took off with the rocket, and it died halfway
Oh yeah,
on the
tilted a
launch,
little.
and then it fell back down on the platform, and then it tilted.
First of all, do you realize, like, in that, like in Cape Canaveral, do you know how far away you have to be from a rocket
Yes,
launch? You have to
yes.
be like 3 or 5 miles minimum.
There's a town.
Yeah,
There's a
but
town
there's a
there.
town, like his house is
Feet,
right
like
next
7
door to
feet
this
away
thing.
from it.
Yeah, there's like an inn where people sleep.
That's an executioner's
The
town
sonic
over
boom
there.
from that just.
That town wasn't meant to stay after the rocket launch.
Secondly, the moment that rocket would have landed on, like, fallen back down, it would have destroyed. It would have exploded. It would have done something.
Is he in a like spacesuit ever?
Never.
No, never.
No one. No
the
one's
fuck
ever
were
in
they
space.
planning?
They just had scientists and like the Final Fantasy VII.
Let's send this geriatric fuck up into space and see what happens. That's what they're
No
testing.
oxygen mask. No
Nothing.
survivability skills.
We don't know about oxygen in
They
space.
don't know anything
They don't
about
know shit about
space.
space.
Apparently they didn't. They don't have any physicists.
Sephiroth
on
knows
that
more about
planet.
space than these guys.
The scientists there were never well represented. You know, they never spoke out. They never talked about what field of science they were in.
No.
It was all just genetics.
It was like,
apparently.
yeah, I know how to make a rocket. Where did you learn? I went to MIT. Like, show me that on whatever
Let
they
me-
call the
let's-
Pangea map of like whatever they call that
On
continent.
to the Midgard Technical
Show me that
Institute.
diploma.
Midgard Technical Institute.
Oh, I'm sorry. That'd be MTI.
MTI. Oh my god. Man. Midgard with no schools, no education system, no.
Midgard Institute of Technology.
Like you know what? Okay, like all these Shinra Electric Power like company employees must have studied somewhere, got in their business degree in.
I figure
in the-
everybody learns in the fucking junior building. Like that's where all the schools are or something.
That should be like that. That probably is the only school, but they teach you how to kill things. They teach you how to be a soldier. I don't think they teach you how to be a
The
businessman.
mayor is also
you're,
there. Like,
you're
there's a ton
born.
of
You're
weird
born
shit.
into that kind of
I
stuff, like
also want to
royalty.
point out, now that we're talking about the Shinra building itself, that how bad did Barrett smell to have to stunk up that room when you were having the meeting? That they were like, "What stinks? What's that smell?" And you were in the duct with Barrett.
I think there might be
right,
hints of
that's
racism in there.
Oh man, that game was all talk for like the mere fact that they made Barrett say like a curse word after every like syllable of a word. Oh shit, Jai, fuck piece of shit.
In fact,
son
I
of a
read
bitch.
I read in that thing that because everybody felt that there was a lot of parallels between Barrett and Mr. T,
Yeah.
they had to purposely go out of the way to make him not look like Mr. T in Advent Children when you can actually see him better.
Oh
So
my
they
God.
really went out of the way
Did he
to
have
make
any
sure.
lines in Advent Children?
Yeah, he did.
What did he say?
Uh,
Like 2 words, right?
He said,
I feel sorry for the
Mr.
the
T.
ignorant people.
He said, "Hey, yo, what's up?"
No, he would just say, you need to pick up your phone more often and stuff like that.
That's cell phones. That means they have satellites. That means they have put things into space before.
Space program.
Yeah. Why don't they have a fucking spacesuit?
Actually, they don't really need.
We don't know how space is in,
They don't
in this world
Look,
of fun
that
facts.
control thing did it have a fucking chair? It was a huge room and not a chair was in there. There's no chair, so it's like, oh fuck it, you're dead.
Okay, so the
But
thing
they-
is,
And they
you
had a
can have-
window.
But they had such an awesome containment room for that huge materia, but
You could have like cell phone technology, but you would have so many towers everywhere.
You could only talk to anybody in Midgard.
no one
That's it.
Yeah,
no one
pretty
said,
much.
hey, let's activate the gravity in there. Like no one was floating or anything. Like they just knew.
How
Like
many times in Advent Children did Cloud check his phone?
oh he
A few times. He got like texts. and shit.
he got
From who?
he would
Text to know, but
he
Shut
actually
up, baby. XO,
he goes, I'm coming for you. No, he would.
He's just like.
No, in Advent Children, they would complain because he became such a pansy that he would never answer his phone. He would just check his voicemails. That's it. And everyone was pissed because they
Oh,
don't
man,
pick up
he's
their
like so
phone.
distant
They
and
don't.
aloof.
He doesn't really answer texts. He comes out or goes home whenever he says he'll do. He never stays at the Seventh Heaven bar with Tifa. He just stays at
But he was
the
infected,
church.
right? He had that.
He had
curse.
the geostigma thing, yeah.
Cloud had
But
it.
he did it. He had it in his arm.
That reminds me of
and-
that Rurouni Kenshin OVA, where it's a very sad one where he's sick with the disease. Maybe that's what they were going for. Feel bad for Cloud, sick with the
I don't know.
disease.
Also remember
Oh.
in Princess Mononoke, that guy had that crazy cursed arm thing.
No, that's
It's not the same because they made him like shoot a guy's like arms off with an arrow.
Oh,
That was awesome, but it was killing him.
Slowly but surely.
what was it in Advent Children? They like Vincent comes out also whenever he wants, but and when he finally comes out to help protect them from that summon that's destroying Midgard, he comes out and the first thing he says is, "We're gonna buy a cell phone." I don't know, like how many minutes?
Because
is he
he's a
gonna
bum.
have?
He just came out of a dumpster.
How do they have plans? They have
He's
like
the only one who
T-Mobile?
doesn't have a costume change.
Yeah, you're right. He's
He
legit-
stayed
yeah.
in the exact same clothes he woke out of that coffin.
Yeah,
They
it's true.
maybe added bullet holes to
Years
his
ago.
cape or something. but-
Yeah, I think his cape had more spawn to it, kind of thing. Like he had like control over his cape or some shit like
More
that.
lava spawn, huh?
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. But I think that was more along the lines because Advent Children came out and then Dirge Cerberus came out, right? So, and they kept this costume the same way it was in Advent Children and Dirge Cerberus.
In fact, I think Dirge Service takes place like a couple years after Advent Children.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
And that's where you're introduced to.
the keychain system that you put on your guns.
No,
He gets a
it's-
fucking laser gun in
You
there.
know what? Actually, at the end of and the secret ending, because I ended up getting the secret ending in that game. You
Where
actually introduced to was Genesis.
G,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you actually they show him. He's got he's at the bottom of the reactor after it blows up,
And he looks up into the camera.
and he just flies away with one wing. And
I think they probably felt like they wanted to make a lot more shit with Genesis involved.
You mean with Gact?
Yeah, he probably just said like, I don't want to dress up in this shit anymore. So fucking.
I'm getting tired of the whole wing thing. Like, let's give everyone a wing. Everyone that's cool. Genesis needs a wing.
but it
I don't
sounds
know.
to
It's
me
a wing.
like if they really wanted to, or they probably do really want to, but they just want to make like a 7-2. But they don't know how to go about it. So they're introducing all these weird characters, Crisis Core,
Yeah.
Dirge Cerberus, and they're making you want to think like, okay, if they make a 7-2, then it'll have these main bad guys and these main good guys.
Yeah, because they need something that it's because it
every-
obviously has to take place after Dirge Service. and
Every
things
new
like that.
character in Crisis Core, I think, except maybe for Genesis, dies. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
I don't give.
I believe. Angio, Genesis supposedly dies at the end. You just see like these people from a helicopter come and they take him.
To the Nemesis probably.
I guess.
They put him under the reactor for Vincent to find him. Right?
I mean, Zach. It was
Find
already,
him, like
Zach. It was
20 years later. Something, right?
Looking great.
It was already written. Sisney, I don't know if she dies or not, but I really don't care. Everybody else is just like Hollander and
Marie
Lazard,
Kellers.
which is really like a copy of Angel or something.
And you
like,
know what? We never played the cell phone game that had to do with
Before
the Turks.
Crisis, yeah.
Before
Yeah.
Crisis.
I had to look it up and stuff, and apparently like no, I don't know, they're not important. Really.
Yeah.
You see Vincent and shit like that. Well,
Yeah.
there's also this. Oh, you see the origin of
The Turks.
Avalanche.
Lucrezia?
Oh really?
Yeah, because it wasn't Barrett who started it. It's some other guy. It was actually a Turk
Really?
who started it. Yeah,
Okay.
some guy who they call like. It's the dumb anime thing of naming people like the Death God of the Battlefield or something like that.
Oh my
It's
God.
a really like badass like Turk guy,
Right.
and he started it. And some ambush happens and he dies, and it's spoilers for something that never came out in America. So fuck you. And yeah, so he obviously he dies. He's not even a fucking. Well, Genesis wasn't in there either, but
But the thing is, what I love is that they're building all these like plot devices that just make plot holes to the original
No.
game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
they're trying to like fulfill maybe unanswered questions by just making more unanswered questions.
That's the
Because you
thing.
go back play the original, it doesn't say shit
Yeah.
about
what happened
shit.
to everybody?
Nothing
That's why.
ever happened.
If-
nothing
If they,
ever
if they ever
recorded.
made a remake of Final Fantasy VII on PS4 or PS3 or whatever they would ever decide to do, so many things would have to change. Like number one, the script. Number two, all the environment and everything. They're gonna try to retouch them up and change them. But I feel like they also might try to incorporate like the game more, like maybe toss Angeal's name or Genesis's name out there.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
shit
that's
that,
exactly
that
what
was
But
never
now
really
that
like.
ruins that nostalgia.
It-
that
no, it
for everybody
definitely would.
who likes the main game.
It wouldn't be a direct like remake. It would be
No,
like,
no. It would be like a complete remake because like you can't have like all those mini games are probably not gonna be in that shit. Like there's so much shit that's gonna get cut out that it's ridiculous. They're probably in fact gonna make it really close to how the newer Final Fantasies are, where there's no world map and you kind of just go from thing to thing because like there's too much going on in that game to properly remake it. It'd be huge.
Yeah, it's true. But I don't know. It's so weird, you know, like why even continue? They should have just kind of like left it dead and used those ideas for other games. And that's what Squaresoft was before, and you know, they would experiment with a lot of RPGs that actually ended up being really cool. And you know, Xenogears being one of my favorite ones. You know, you had Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. You know what I mean? It's what they should be doing now. Instead of just focusing on Final Fantasy should be that thing that they make when they have like all the proper gears in place and all the greatest story, like, you know, it's been worked on, but everything else is kind of like experimental. Just put it in a different title, put it in a different game, mess with weird mechanics, you know, try to get like everybody together to make another Chrono game, you know, like I don't
All
know.
those people are gone. Like the people that worked on all that stuff are gone.
Yeah, they're gone from Square, but
They,
they're
they
not.
went. They went to Monosoft or Brownie Brown or whatever
Right,
the fuck.
but they're not retired. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're
they
still working.
They can still come together. And in fact, I was on the Miss Walker page today, and Miss Walker actually gets a lot of help from Brownie Brown, the people who made.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And they're
game.
like they also help a lot of Nintendo games too.
What game was it? That game?
Secret of Mana.
Yeah,
those
they're the ones
games.
who made the.
No.
Yeah, and
He says like that game, yes.
it's funny because Brownie Brown actually ended up. They ended up not converting, but making that company like really early on, and they helped. They said on in the Miss Walker page that Brownie Brown had helped establish the Nintendo name and everything.
Yeah.
Like in the U.S. because of like the whole like Secret of Mana thing. And
They also still help Square make a lot of shit. Like they made that one like I think it was for Game Boy Advance. It was like a secret some mana game.
the children's
Like-
story or something like that.
The one on Game Boy Advance?
Yeah,
of Mana?
I think it was that one. Like
Yeah.
that remake of
Yeah,
the game.
the remake of.
They made that one.
The first one,
They're the
right?
ones who developed
The
it.
first Final Fantasy.
It's
apparently.
it's a remake of Final
Fantasy
Fantasy Adventures, which
Right.
is technically Saga 1.
Right.
Second one, right.
So yeah, they're the Brownie Brown.
No,
is
I'm
the one who
sorry.
did
No,
that.
not Adventures.
Mm.
Saga 1 is Final Fantasy Legends. The Final Fantasy Adventures technically Secret of Mana 1.
Yeah, Secret of Mana.
And then
there
they
you go.
remade it and re-released it with the proper Sword of Mana name. It was the beginning of the Mana series.
Beginning of a long relationship.
But it was actually really cool. They kept the original sound. They actually, in that game, which was really cool, which was different than the original Final Fantasy Adventures, they incorporated the very famous class changing systems from like Secret of Mana 2 and Secret of Mana 3,
That's awesome.
which never came out.
Yeah,
And-
I don't think that stuff was in.
And it was
No,
really really
the
cool,
ones.
and it depended on the way you distributed your stat points around. It depend whether you became like a wizard or a thief or like a ninja or pretty much the Secret of Mana 3 classes that were all there.
So then, I guess flash idea in my head. So what if Final Fantasy Versus, or 15 now, is a linear game with all these awesome mechanics?
I think it kind of has to be. I think having like a weird open world thing. What time is it?
It's 10 to something, but Maui's in trouble and he's got to go.
Oh, are you? You're in trouble.
Yeah,
You can speak up.
a little bit of trouble. Really, I can throw my personal business out there like on the
No one's
podcast.
gonna fucking listen
Oh,
to
okay.
this.
No, I just got a text saying that I am invited to the barbecue, and I see if I can get a ride and make it over there.
Okay.
Is there any food in it for me?
No food?
I'm not sure. There could be.
Not a single thing for you.
There is if we
Is
hit.
this the actual time though? Are we at
Yeah,
31 minutes?
We're at 31 minutes right now.
Because it felt like forever.
Hasn't?
Well, it's
Yeah.
because we don't have the
We
beers.
Yeah.
Hi, you owe me a beer.
The Shinra beers,
Yeah.
the Power Electric infused electrolyte beer.
Once we
Made from
start
Mako.
like brewing beers, we're gonna start making game themed beers.
Can we brew beers and call them brownie browns?
As long as we don't get sued.
Clink.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
I mean,
But yeah, I mean, to agree with you that I feel like there's that Final Fantasy does occupy so much of their time. I mean, I granted it's such a great name, and like the franchise of like SquareSoft, Square Enix, whatever the hell. Like I mean, they've gone through so many like name changes with Final Fantasy, like always there with them. But they should definitely try to, you know, like I know there's different teams and stuff like that. Like there's a team that works on these particular games. There's a team that works on Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. But I feel like they should allow like new ideas and like newcomers to come and maybe make something that could possibly even be greater than Final Fantasy, something that would deserve more attention.
Yeah, I don't know what they're planning, but you know, they're still making Final Fantasies, and I think they've made some mistakes lately, and I think maybe now they're listening more to the fans and shit. But
yeah,
I don't even know
Final
if they
Fantasy
should
14 started that whole. Once 14 like bombed,
yeah,
that's when it
you mean
became.
13?
No, 14. I'm talking about
Oh, okay, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
MMORPG
Yeah.
that they had
Yeah.
to reboot, that they had to take out and
The one-
basically rework from the ground up.
The one
Yeah,
that offered
that's-
their first players a year's free of gameplay.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
It's like first month free, second month free. Sorry for the delay. Fourth, fifth, sixth month free.
it was free for the longest time, and on top of the fact that it was live, they were also working on the Realm Reborn, and that I think was the first time that they saw that players actually want to change, that players actually want to play a specific type of game when they're getting into this stuff, and that's when they brought in a new director or a producer or whatever the hell he is, and they actually went in and fixed the game up, and they started listening to the fans. They opened up a forum.
Was it the same guy from Final Fantasy 11?
No, that's the guy who made
The first one? The
and
first version
He had
of
to
it?
step down. He had to publicly step down, and they say
Was that the guy who worked
is
on
kind
the-
of like a public execution kind of thing, because your career is
But
ruined
wasn't
from
it the
there
Secret
on.
of Mana guy?
No,
What was his name?
That was actually he did Second and Setsu 3.
Yeah, Secret
Yeah.
of Mana 3.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
and
Where did this guy come from? The new one?
I have no idea. I know that
I'll look him up.
I would have to look him up, but I know that for a fact he's an avid MMORPG player.
Yeah. I've heard him
And-
talk about like playing other games and shit, like
And
things that he likes.
I think that they brought him onto that project specifically because of his experience playing multiple MMORPGs and the fact that he plays multiple MMORPGs now still. Like he was apparently like a really high-end raider for World of Warcraft. He played EverQuest to the end. He was a high-end raider for EverQuest, EverWarcraft.
To be honest, to be honest, I feel like I played Final Fantasy 11 for a long time, and I feel like the battle mechanic was always very, very like cool, very, very interesting. But obviously, the main complaint being that it was such a slow game, slow to pick up, slow
I
to
don't
do
think-
anything. But
They
I
did
feel like
blame it on the limitations.
Yeah.
I feel like
I heard
the
real
guy,
limitations.
as much as he might have been like criticized for like making like this MMO, like in the end didn't really make like a game that was like
It's hard to tell what
It's a
was
piece
really
of
going. Yeah, but it's hard to tell what was really going on because maybe it's the fact that he worked on 11 for a long time, and then he gets thrown into this next project, which is another like really big fucking like MMO project.
From what I remember, it ended up being his dream game, his Final Fantasy 1 remake where everybody can play. That's like, I guess how he put it, or not word for word, but that's the vibe that you get from the interview that, you know, they ask him. And it very much was a Final Fantasy game. I didn't think it's not a Final Fantasy game. When I played it, I enjoyed it. I thought there were a lot of cool things about it, but I saw what he was trying to do. And what he was trying to do was he tried to make a very lifelike depiction of what it would be like to be a real person in that world. So you had fatigue system, if you work too much you become fatigued, you had to take a break, etc., you know, and you had to do different things. And on top of that, the best way to level up is by being versatile, where a human being doesn't sit there and do one thing, or doesn't go out and fight every single day, or doesn't, you know, spend like all his time fighting. He'll go back to his house, he'll work on like crafting, or he'll work on what he likes, he may be gardening and stuff like that. So they introduced a lot of like different crafting systems for that, and that helped you level up as a player. You had a base level and then your class level, and you know.
So what did you say?
And as a person.
As a person.
But I mean, as far as, you know, like I think that's where he went wrong. That he tried to make it too lifelike. That he forgot that he was making a game, and he thought that he was making a reality. And I think that's where maybe.
Yeah, I think he had like a certain way he saw like the game that he wanted it to be, and it didn't line up with what people like playing right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think Maui's squirming enough so that like we should probably start wrapping it up, right?
Alright.
I'm not really squirming.
Yeah, squirming, man.
Stop squirming.
What is it? The squirm?
The squirm? I love squirms.
All right, so then from Semi-Directional, this is Alex signing out.
This is Maui. Thank you for listening.
And this is Alfred. Sorry about the first episode.
Sorry for never hearing our first episode.
And sorry about Final Fantasy VII.
And sorry for our second
Yeah.
episode.
So we'll post this up, and there's a short version, and we're sorry about. I'm so sorry about everything.
Not like these. Not like these.